Greetings out there in internet land. How are ya? We're into the third episode of the Madnessodes, and we wanted to bring you into a little experiment that we've been doing, me and Mr. Waddell. We've been playing with the Family O Snares. We'll look at the current selection. We've got a 5x14 poplar snare, dubbed Elizabeth. We've got a 5x13 Ludwig snare. It's actually a 1960 something maple snare. We've got a 4x14. Oh, and sorry, this one, its name is Plink. We have a 4x14 brass free-floating snare drum by the name of Lynn. It's actually really nice and loud. We have a 5x14 Ludwig brass Black Beauty snare. See if the nickel over brass. It's got a really sweet sound to it. We have the main MTM snare drum, which is a 7x13 oak Yamaha snare. This is the snare that I use mainly on the kid. It is number 1, aka Christine. It's very good for kind of generally being able to cover most of what I want my sound to be. So it's a very kind of do-it-all snare. And then one of the classics here, you have an Ann, and this was off of my first drum kit. One of the ugliest finishes ever, and I hated it when I was growing up, but now I kind of love it because it's so ugly. But this is Ann, and it's got more of a classic rock kind of snare sound.
So basically, the other night, we set up all the snares, and we played through them all, and we wrote down each snare, the different characteristics of the sounds. This way, as we're doing our scratch tracks, and when we're listening back, we can choose out of all this snares to choose the best voice, or Kevin can choose the best voice that he thinks each song deserves, and then that way kind of giving each song an extra voice that you might not get live, or that a lot of drummers don't really go to that special effort to do. So this is kind of something that we're definitely critiquing on this next album, is we want everything to sound right for the song and everything to sound as best as it possibly can be. So I think Kevin might want to show you a little bit more of the drum case.
More of the drum kit. If you'll follow me, well, you're not really following me, but. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who haven't seen, this is the entire Ice Fortress minus the snares, because of course we've got them all out. Doing cool selection stuff with them. This is what most people don't get to see. Over here, right below my finger, is the leftmost Roland FD8 trigger pedal. I use it for my electronics. Got the hi-hat pedal. Got the left kick pedal, the second FD8, and I trigger quite a few sounds with them, and they kind of change per song. Then you have the primary kick drum. Then over here, a lot of people ask about this because I have 3 kicks. I'm going to show you a little thing in here. As you can see, it's a double pedal, and the actual pedal from the double side has been removed just because my foot can't reach over there. But it allows me to play 2 primary kicks. Both are very different. You've got a 22 that's got some muffling in it. Tune's a little tighter. And then you've got, if I can get to it, you got the 24 over there, no muffling, and it's tuned slightly differently. And the purpose for that is just to give me a little selection when I want to play different passages. And then all the way over here, as if my world's not busy enough, I have a TC Electronics Voice Live vocal effects pedal. And it does some really cool stuff. Then, let's see. Starting from the top, we got all the bronze. You got an 18-inch medium thin crash, 21-inch ride, dubbed the Distemper ride. That's an awesome cymbal that's been in my family for about 20 years now, 20 or more years. An 18-inch Sabian Chinese, 18-inch thin crash, another 18-inch thin crash. You've got a 22-inch China. You've got an 8-inch splash and a 10-inch splash. And then up here, this is kind of, a lot of people have asked me about this as well. It's similar to Mike Portnoy's Max Stacks, but the way I do it is it's actually a China 8-inch China splash inverted and then stacked right on top of a 10-inch splash. And it gives me kind of a smacky, kind of just a really cool white noise type of sound. You've got the 13-inch primary hi-hats. You have the 14-inch X-hats, which I usually keep relatively sloshy. You've got a 20-inch ride, and for my primary, I kind of dig the 20s a little bit more. You have a 20-inch crash, and a third China, it's an 18-inch. Over here, you've got the brains for my electronics. This is the SPDS. It samples so that I can use whatever little bits and pieces off of Human Nation. Of course, I trigger the female vocal parts live when they're not performing with us. And starting back with the drums, you have a 8x10 tom, which I've actually got tuned more of a timbalito, which I'm doing some cool things with, and it's really turned out to be a lot of fun to have it on the kit. 6 and 8-inch mini timbalitos, so 8x8 tom, 8x10 tom, 9x12 tom, 11x13 tom to the left, a 12x15 tom to the left. Over here we have Mr. 12x14, Mr. 14x16, and Mr. 16x18. And as you can probably see, all of the microphones are in position. We've been doing some scratch recordings. Been having fun with it. Been playing around with different mic positions, different mics, different preamps, a lot of stuff. Trying to get as much experimenting as we can, just to make it a lot of fun. And that is the kit for now. And we're going to go back over to Mr. Waddell, and he's going to close us out.
Yeah, one other thing we wanted to mention was, so far this is the third episode of our Madnessodes. And the first two we entitled Episode 1, Week 1, and then Episode 2, Week 2. Well, obviously we planned on doing one every week, and you know, it is now, tomorrow is New Year's Eve, and with Christmas holiday and everything, we just haven't been able to consistently do one every week due to just things coming up and not having the time to work it in. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to number them episodes so that way you don't. And I guess this is technically the last Madnessode for 2009, and the next one will coming to you. It'll be next year. So I guess we'll be seeing you next year. And until then.